actually had this for quite a while now, and I finally hooked it up. Well, let's see.
Says we're live.
Yep, we're live. Hello, everybody.
Do we want to be?
Welcome to whatever this show is.
For whatever day of the week it is in the month of whatever. Yeah, you know.
Yeah. Welcome to Dueling Aces for 1923, also known as, George's second fiddle show.
Really?
Yeah, I had to.
Already shots fired.
I mean, obviously he can't be bothered.
That's true. This is true.
But so before we get into all the shenanigans, I guess I need to do this because I keep getting yelled at for forgetting it. All right, I guess we can actually do a show now. So we've got Bruiser coming to you from the Isle of the Faceless Men. We've got Adam in the Michigan room. We got Zolt here at the Winter Residence. And we're going to bring you all the news that we've decided that you need to know about.
Right.
Don't care if you want to know.
We're going to tell you anyways.
I'm currently eating mozzarella sticks, hence why my camera is off, because nobody wants to see that.
I'm just thinking some of the screenshots.
Oh, it's gross. Listen, me eating in general is gross.
Me
eating chicken wings is like watching the T-Rex eat the goat from Jurassic Park.
Taking it clean.
I am a monster with chicken wings. So there's no graceful way to do it.
No.
So I just go for animalistic.
Yeah, it's disturbing.
I will say chips and salsa. I love it. I will sit there and I will pound a bowl. I cannot sit there and eat chips and salsa without some of it ending up on me.
Yep.
It's just how it is.
Eat a bit.
Nah, too old for that crap. All right. So people may have actually tuned in to watch this. I don't know why, but they might have.
Right.
So in case they have, let's start off. Damar Hamlin. Who wants to go?
I mean, where do we was like? It's just unfortunate. I mean, literally, it's a freak accident. Nobody knew this was going to happen. And I will say this: I'm going to throw this out there right now before we get started and get too deep into this. I wish people would stop with this whole COVID vaccine crap. Just drop it, let it go. Like,
It started the moment he hit the ground, dude.
Oh, I know. I mean, people don't understand there could be pre-existing things. I mean, and a lot of times, but from what I was told, the best way to look at it, to explain it, because it's such a rare phenomenon of how it happened, is that your heart basically has plumbing and electrical. His was an electrical issue.
Well, the same thing that happened to Chris Pronger in the Stanley Cup playoffs. I believe it was a Stanley Cup final game, wasn't it?
I don't remember.
I don't remember. I just remember he was playing for the Blues.
Same thing that happened to Chris Pronger happened to Damar Hamlin. He got hit so hard, and the electrical was beating at the right time that it short-circuited.
I distinctly, I was watching that game.
And sent him into cardiac arrest.
Yeah.
Don't ask me to pronounce the word.
Yeah. Pronger took a slap shot to the chest and just dropped. It was scary as hell then, and it was scary as hell on Monday.
I think how old was Pronger when his happened? Because I know Damar's only 24.
Yeah, I think Pronger was in his 30s at that point.
24 is what's scarier than hell, is the fact that he's so young that it happened.
The thing with what happened Monday, and I said it in our chat and I believed it until they took the tube out and he talked to his team on Friday, was that we had witnessed a death on the field. You know, and technically, I guess he did die. His heart stopped. They had to resuscitate him.
Defibrillate, all that stuff.
However, I'm talking an actual true, they're putting him in the ground death. And I remember when the concussion issues were going on with the CBA about 10 years ago, and that was the big deal, and the lawsuits were going on, and all of the hyperbole and platitudes were, we'll just wait till somebody dies on the field of a vicious head injury, or wait till this happens. And I mean, Junior Seau shot himself in the chest so his brain could be examined. That's
CTE is real.
CTE is a real thing. However, what we witnessed Monday, I think, should be a lesson to the NFL, the players, and the Players Association and the owners that you cannot work these guys like horses year round. They are humans. They are athletes. Their bodies are susceptible to the same injuries that everybody else's are. And just like in 2001, when Dale died at Daytona, there were numerous injuries before that. Adam Petty, Kenny Irwin, a number of Truck Series, ARCA Series, and Busch Series drivers had all died from basilar skull fractures. The moment Dale Earnhardt died, what happened? The Hans device was mandatory. Open-faced helmets were banned. Safer barriers were installed on all the tracks.
Not only do they need to go that route too, but like G. Bush said on one of the podcasts here in Cleveland, they need to do something because that kid was only going to make X amount of dollars, and it wasn't shit, and the NFL wasn't going to cover it or whatever. So it was like if he never plays again, the NFL's just looking at him like he's just another player that, okay, he's gone. They need to do something more for if there's a freak accident like this, like an insurance policy that the kids are covered. You know what I mean?
I was getting there. I'm with you.
Okay.
So the first thing is increasing the safety aspect. Maybe look, nobody wants to wear more padding, but maybe you put an extra plate on the chest. Maybe position players like wide receivers, safeties are required to wear a flak jacket like that, to like quarterbacks do, to decrease the impact that you take in a chest hit. Something to help decrease the risk. I understand this was a 1 in a million thing, but it happened in prime time on national television on the day after New Year, where most people are either A, still on vacation, or B, still with family, or C, getting home and relaxing because they took Tuesday off too, and so they want to watch. And you watch this happen live. And then the coverage afterward, SVP, Ryan Clark, numerous other entities did an amazing job talking about it, especially
Fantastic.
Ryan Clark.
Yep. Fantastic.
I am one of the few here that is going to defend Skip Bayless.
Okay.
Because I believe his tweet was misunderstood.
A lot of shit that Skip says is misunderstood, but I think he brings it upon himself too, though.
I will agree that he brings it upon himself, but in this particular instance, I think the vitriol, the hate, the public tongue lashing, the public verbal abuse that he got from Michael Strahan and others was unwarranted, because if you read that tweet, he talks about how can you resume this game? How can you do these things? You know, this game had major implications, but all of that seems pointless now. You know,
so you're saying he worded it wrong?
I don't think he worded it wrong. I think he worded it how he wanted to word it. I think people interpreted it as him worrying about the wrong thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think what he did was he combined the two different things. He combined what everybody was thinking at the time. God, I hope this kid's okay, with day 2 stuff, which is okay. Where do we go from here? And I just think
we did in our chat too.
To an extent, yeah, we did. I think most of the chat was in the moment kind of thing.
Absolutely.
I think once they actually canceled the game, then it became, all right, hope the kid's okay, but what do we do now?
And to the second point, you brought it up, Adam. You are not fully vetted in the league and available
3 years, right?
For retirement or post-retirement care for 3 years. He is in the middle of year 2 of his contract. It is $3.84 million. The NFL and the NFLPA came to an agreement that they're going to pay this contract in full. I also agree that, yes, should he not need lifetime medical care, which they said he's neurologically intact, he's going to have months of physical rehab to get his body back. I honestly would not be surprised if that kid stepped onto a football field next season and played.
That's crazy.
However, would the NFL be willing to insure him because of the injuries he sustained? So I agree. There needs to be, because this is such an unprecedented incident. And we've had kids in college die of these hits. There's 1 or 2 a year, right? Like safety from Alabama dies at practice.
It's usually offensive linemen.
But whatever. What I'm saying is there's usually 1 to 3 a year in the summer that happen, going into the season. So it's nothing new. This happens. However, it finally happened in the NFL during a game on the field in front of cameras. I think the NFLPA and the NFL need to sit down and go, all right, we need to work out a reasonable solution for this and put it into the CBA and make an amendment, because you cannot expect us to go out there, put our bodies on the line like that, with the risk or the possibility of dying, like what happened to Damar Hamlin, and then only tell us, well, you're only going to get $4,000 a month for the next so many years if you're vetted for medical care, instead of the $22,000 you were getting before the newest CBA.
Something's got to be done, that's for sure.
I will step off my soapbox for a moment.
To take it back for a little bit, when you started your diatribe,
sorry,
I think no, you're fine. You're fine. That's what we're here for. I think basically what you were getting to is, we can see all the injuries in the world. It takes something catastrophic for change.
Yes, 100%.
I don't know what that change is going to look like. I don't know if we'll even see anything here.
Well, the problem. Well, think about how long it took them to figure out just even when to play the game, if not to play the game. How long that took. So I mean, it may take 2 to 3 years before something might get implemented. I mean, hopefully it won't take that long, but I don't know however long else it would take, really.
Yeah, guarantee you that young man is about to go through an amount of testing that should qualify him for the space program.
Hey, they say even though he's out of the hospital, he's going back to another one in Buffalo for more testing. So it's progress, at least. I mean, at least that's the biggest thing. And I still love the first thing he said. He wakes up. Did we win? That's the first thing that was on his mind.
That's beautiful, and not just the sentiment, the fact. I mean, I'm sure those doctors were ecstatic because it showed them, okay, he's here. So let's go.
Right. I don't care. Should Buffalo and Cincinnati meet up in the playoff? I don't care where the game is played, Buffalo or Cincinnati. Those doctors from UC Medical, the team staffs that were, there administering the CPR and getting him taken care of, the EMTs that continued the life-saving care from the stadium to the hospital need to either be flown to Buffalo or taken to the stadium. And before the game, you walk them out and you stand them at the 50-yard line and you read off each one of their names and you celebrate those individuals because they saved that young man's life and they avoided tragedy. And we want to idolize sports heroes. We want to idolize political figures. We want to idolize, podcasters and YouTubers and people like that. But those individuals should be given the recognition that they are due because of the job that they did last Monday and throughout the week at the hospital.
And let's throw it out there. I mean, these folks practice day in, day out for something that they hope they never have to use. It happened. It was recognized immediately, and they handled it. 9 minutes of CPR is a long time to be working on somebody.
Well, from what I read, the athletic trainer for the Bills is the one who recognized it first, and within 30 seconds was doing CPR.
Well, as he was doing CPR, the other one was taking off the face mask.
Yes.
Like I said, I mean, they went into action and they handled it exactly how you hope to handle it. And all the training in the world, you don't know how it's going to look when you actually get there. So, all props to them. Bravo to them. They did exactly what they needed to do. And that young man is alive.
Mm-hmm. Amen.
So last Monday night, as he was being taken off the field into the hospital, it got floated out there that he had a charity going, a GoFundMe to do a toy drive, right? And it had been going for 2 years, and he was asking for $2,500. And he was at maybe 300 or 400 at the time of his injury. Would you like to know what it currently sits at?
It's over 5 million, ain't it?
Go higher.
It's well over that. The last report I saw had it, I think, over 7.
Okay.
Higher.
What?
It is currently sitting at $8.6 million with donations from local businesses in Buffalo,
Owners,
Tom Brady, Chris Jericho, players from around the NFL. There are several players and people because GoFundMe has a limit of a $5,000 personal donation. Chris Jericho donated $5,000 twice and misspelled his name once.
Yeah,
just so
to get by it. Yeah,
to get by it. There are people who are doing that.
Robert Kraft.
Robert
Kraft and the Patriots. Yep.
I do not know where I saw it. I believe I saw it on Twitter, but there were several area Buffalo and Cincinnati businesses that banded together and said whenever it's finalized, whatever how much is donated to this, they will match it.
Wow.
So you're talking, if it ended tomorrow, it's at $8.6 million, right? You're talking $16 million for this dude's charity. If that's not an outshowing of support for an individual, and I'm glad that he is alive and going to be able to see it. Because anything that I've read from any of his teammates who have spoken about him or any articles, dude's a stand-up dude, 100% stand-up guy, and is just trying to do the right thing and do what he can. So I'm super, super happy that he's, for the most part, going to be okay.
And we brought it up. I'm just, because this is me, I'm going to throw some numbers out.
No, you wouldn't do such a thing.
No, I would never do such a thing. Likelihood of sudden cardiac death in high school athletes. So let's take the high school. It's somewhere between 1 in 50,000 and 1 in 80,000.
That's not really high odds. I mean, or low
No.
odds.
No, that'd be when you think about how many high school athletes there are.
Yeah.
What's going on, Jim?
How about them Dolphins, Jim?
He's not as bad. He's one of the actual nice Steeler fans.
I know he is. I just like fucking with him.
Oh, I know.
Like
just for the record, we have an update. It is now 24-7 Georgia. So I pretty much think this game's over.
Is it in the fourth quarter or first quarter?
Second.
TCU's weird, man. No, they might bounce back.
We'll get back to that later.
They're going to rope-a-dope them like Foreman and Ali. Just let them punch themselves out in the first half, and in the second half, TCU's going to throw it all over the field. Sorry, continue.
Yeah. No, that's okay. I was just going to say Michigan tried that. It didn't work so well.
Michigan was Foreman in that situation.
Yeah. For college-age players, athletes, the risk is estimated at 1 in about 13,500.
Wow.
With a higher rate for male college basketball players.
Yeah, we had that one a couple years ago that collapsed in the middle of the game or the beginning of the game.
Breaking it down, the mean age for sudden cardiac death in athletes is 16 years.
I wonder what it is on the youth level.
The rate is 6.8 deaths in 100,000 people per year.
It's about 7 deaths a year, give or take.
Out of every 100,000.
That's still a lot.
That's a lot. That is a lot. It's we have the commercials here on the radio. It's like, get the heart screening. I don't care how young you are. If you're playing athletics at a higher level, get it.
But not only that, I think coaches need to. We're talking about safety, right? I think coaches need to adapt their training practices. There is no reason to make people run suicides in full pads in the middle of the field in the dead dog days of summer anymore. With nutrition, strength and training regimen, like there's no need for that.
Or the old days when you weren't allowed to hit the water bucket.
Or that. Or you dropped a pass, run a mile. You dropped, you fumbled.
Easy, Coach Boone.
That there's a day and age now where strength training and conditioning, we know more about the human body and its physiology than we ever have. And I think coaching and coaching practices need to adapt to that, because that's one of the things that is still archaic.
Well, I mean, the issue is we know the information. We have the information. It's just actually getting coaches to use it.
No, I'm with you. That's what I said. It needs to change.
Yeah. A coach thinks that their way is the way. That's why they do it.
Good to see Burge is in here.
What's up, Burge?
By the way, yes, youth hockey does rule. Thomas did pretty good yesterday. We'll talk about that later. I'm so proud of that boy. But to go back to the individuals involved, I think because Joe Buck, people wanted to crucify Joe Buck on Tuesday for talking about the 5-minute, clock. And Joe Buck was well within his right to quote that, because that is the rule. Most times, in case of an injury, At the time that Joe Buck mentioned it, he didn't know exactly how serious it was. He knew that CPR had been enacted, but he did not know how serious it was. He did not know the severity of everything involved. And he was being fed that from NFL officials in the stadium. Not the league, but the officials. So when he was given that information and relayed it, he wasn't doing anything wrong.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, there were Bengals players that have said that they were told the same thing.
Yes.
And again, you're talking officials who are going by the rule book because that's what you go to settle things down until you hear otherwise.
I think it was mighty ballsy of both Zach Taylor and
McDermott
to go, we're not playing. We're going back in the locker room. Because
Right.
you saw the conference, you saw the conference with the officials with both coaches, and then they both walked past the officials as the officials were trying to get them back to their sidelines and talk to them. And they're like, no, we're going to deal with this. And I think at that moment, the NFL, especially Goodell, lost a little bit of control that he will never get back because the players and the coaches realized we have power. And they stopped that game and they kept it from continuing. I also want to say big ups to the Cincinnati fans and the Buffalo fans that were in attendance because as far as I heard, because my sisters were at the game, there was no violence afterward. There was nobody throwing a temper tantrum or about the game not continuing. I do believe that all the tickets for that game, the money was refunded after they completely canceled it. So, you know what I mean? Like you got for such a tragic incident to happen, it ended in the best way that it possibly could. All the way around.
And honestly, you hear the stories and you continue to hear the stories. It really sounds like pretty much everybody handled the glass. Like,
yes,
everybody went back to the locker room. What did Burrow do? First thing he did is once he had the pads off, Burrow went, got the team captains from Cincinnati, and they went over to the Buffalo locker room to see if there was anything they could do.
I believe that Burrow and a couple of the Cincinnati players offered places to stay to some of the Buffalo players who were there overnight Monday to Tuesday who did not fly back with the team
right
late Monday morning, which, again, super classy.
I will say this. Hearing quotes from Cincinnati players, they did not expect Buffalo to fly home. They had been under the impression Buffalo was staying because they might get the game in the next day. They were really surprised when the Buffalo charter plane left.
I think we all were.
A little bit. I mean, I don't think we were expecting that, but at the same time, we had no idea what direction that was going.
I mean, and what are you really going to do? I mean, all you can do is just go sit around his hotel room his hospital room kind of. I mean, there's really nothing you can do at that point.
I was going to say, you can't do that. This is time of COVID. You can't even be in that hospital.
Right.
I think that once that game got postponed and he was not out of the woods. I mean, I posted those stats in the chat. He is the absolute exception. He is not the rule. Like, over 70% of those injuries result in death. And the fact that he made it through and hopefully is going to be okay and be able to live a long life after this is not only amazing and miraculous, but I think once all that started to come out Monday night, Buffalo was like, we're not playing this game anymore. We're going home. Because I don't know.
That's a good question.
I believe so. They would attempt to recreate it as best they could.
It would pick up right where when the injury occurred, where the clock stopped. The clock would stop right there. Down and distance would have been the same. They would have started on the same yard marker. All that stuff. It would be as if on an MLB game when it gets postponed to rain, you go back out there with the same pitch count. You go back out there with the same all that stuff.
Yep.
And
you come out of that 3-hour rain delay. Okay, everybody goes right back where you were.
Yeah. Well, I said this to you, Zolt, and I think that given what happened during that game, there needs to be a contingency in place now. Because if the crazy had happened this weekend in the games and the playoff seeding balance had been thrown out of order, because that game had implications. Cincinnati could have jumped Buffalo, and Cincinnati could have been the number two seed and not the number 3. So either A, it should get marked as a tie, because then you eliminate a scenario where a win would have created a seeding advantage, or I'm sorry, but you got to I think the initial reaction of going seeding off of win percentage was the right way to do it.
You mean actually following the rules that they had in place?
Yes.
That they chose to ignore?
Yep.
Trust me, I work with a guy who's a Cincinnati fan. I have heard about this week. At the same time, he is well aware there's only a little bit of complaining you can do before you start to look like a total jackass.
Yeah.
I get it, and I fully understand. And I'm not a Cincinnati fan. I root for them. I'm going to root for them in the playoffs because they're an Ohio team, and I'd like to see them get far again. And I'd like to see them go back to the Super Bowl. I'd also like to see them play Buffalo in an AFC title game because I think that would be a hell of a game.
You still might get it.
I think so. I don't think KC's got what it takes to get to the Super Bowl. I really don't. However, that notwithstanding, if you are going to essentially punish a team who did absolutely nothing wrong but be the victim of a very unfortunate circumstance, then you need to redo your rules, or you need to follow what you set into place to begin with.
Yeah, I couldn't have said it better. The rules are there. Follow them. If you're going to throw them out, well, then why did you create that rule to begin with?
True.
Well, that being said, anybody else, any other tangents we want to go off as far as DeMar Hamlin's concerned? Because I think we've
killed it. I think. Oh, sorry, wrong choice of words there, but we nailed it.
I think we did. So we brought the playoffs. Let's talk about these games. Maybe we could do picks. I know George isn't here, so maybe we'll do the picks later. But we can talk. We can at least talk about the matchups a little bit here.
Sorry, it slipped, Jim. I wasn't even just like Pittsburgh yesterday doing the CPR on the field. I made a mistake.
Too soon.
Yeah, very much. Well, I am the king of too soon memes and everything else, but in this situation, I was not going that route.
All right, so Saturday at 4:30, Seattle, the sacrificial Seahawks.
Thank you, Lions.
Going to San Francisco. Yay. We can get into that. I'm going to get into that.
I was not wanting to see Green Bay get beat by San Francisco yet again. All right. I mean, at this point, I always say going into the playoffs, the two hottest teams are the ones that usually go to the Super Bowl. And right now that would be San Francisco riding that Brock Purdy train, and Cincinnati. And, Cincinnati was hot up until that whole incident they had with, Buffalo or whatever. But
Yeah.
right now,
I'm not saying we would have matched up against San Francisco, but you're talking about the two hottest teams. Detroit Lions are pretty damn hot right now.
right? Well, they were,
especially after that game. They were. So 49ers are a 10-point favorite.
Oh my God.
I'm calling it now.
Yes.
2020, 2023, 2024 division winners of the NFC North are the Detroit Lions.
From your lips, man, I will take it. I like the direction we're heading. I mean, how can you not like it after how the season ended?
You got me wanting to go out and bite some kneecaps.
That I tell you what, that they're stocked for the future. You got to add stuff this year.
Yeah.
But you don't have to. You're not doing a coaching staff change. You're not doing a quarterback change. You're not doing.
Yeah. No, I honestly, again, this was going to be a whole separate topic, but the Lions have the number 6 pick. They got the number 18 pick.
I wouldn't.
You can do a lot. I don't think they're going to now. I really don't.
I think you're doing all right with who you got, to be honest.
Well, and remember, they brought up a stat during that game last night that Detroit has scored 35 or 38 points or something like that, however many times on the year, was the most of any team in the NFL this season. So they
Detroit plays Big 12 football in a division where you need SEC defense.
Yeah.
Aiden Hutchinson for Rookie of the Year.
I think he stated his case. I mean, votes come in. We'll see what happens, but
I wouldn't say no, to be honest with you, to Aiden Hutchinson for Rookie of the Year.
Well, it just sucks because don't they do it NFL? They don't do it as in like AFC, NFC, or do they do it the AFC, NFC? I don't remember.
No, they do AFC and NFC Rookie of the Year.
Okay. Do they? I thought it was just one.
That's what I thought too, because I know a lot of people are saying, "Oh, Sauce Gardner," but which that's fine. He's well deserving too. But
anyway, back to Seattle, San Francisco. The number's only 43. It's a fairly low score game. That's kind of what you'd expect with San Francisco, to be honest with you.
Their defense.
Yeah. Seattle. Let's talk about Geno for a minute.
Hey, give him credit. He broke Russell's record.
Geno did a lot this year, considering the fact that most people, myself included, expected 0 from him.
Right.
If you're Seattle, do you give Geno a 3-year deal?
2, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to max him out, but sure. I mean, why wouldn't you?
Where are they picking at?
Well,
don't they got somebody?
Yeah, they do. Hang on. They're up there towards the top. Give me 1 second.
I want to say like 6, 7 range.
They have Denver's pick. They're picking 5.
Okay, yeah, so 5th. So
they're picking right before Detroit.
You could easily go and get your quarterback and have Geno groom him.
If that's the route you want to take, absolutely.
Or do you build on your defense and go get Will Anderson from Bama?
I think you give Geno 3 years. You build an offense around him, and you build your defense. And maybe next year you go draft your quarterback, because I think there are more good quarterbacks coming out next year than there are this year.
Well, the thing is, though, is damn well that Chicago's not staying at 1. They're going to trade out. They already have their quarterback. They can drop down a couple spots and pick up something else that they might need as a need. So they're going to be fielding a lot of calls for any of those cute quarterback-hungry teams. Carolina might jump in there. You know what I mean? So and then the question is whoever jumps to 1, who are you taking? Are you taking Petty or are you taking Stroud? Or Bryce Young? Bryce Young, I'm sorry. Or Stroud.
Judging by his performance in the bowl game the other night, I think CJ Stroud might actually break the mold for Ohio State quarterbacks in the NFL.
Justin Fields is on his way too.
Justin Fields needs more work, but I think CJ Stroud is a better pro quarterback because he actually can throw. Yes, I'm going to say something nice about Ohio State.
First and last. But I mean, San Francisco, they're favored by 10 at home. I mean, And they're on what, an 8-game winning streak or 9? And has Purdy started all those games too? Holy crap. Mr. Irrelevant.
I don't know if it's been all of them. However, I was checking his stats. Don't laugh. His are almost identical to Jimmy G, who could very well be back for the playoffs. So,
what do you do?
Who do you start?
I think you got to ride the hot hand.
I think you go with the hot hand. I don't listen. We have made our allegiance to MVG well known on this show. However, I think if you have identical stats, you're on an 8 or 9 game win streak, and the team hasn't missed a beat. I don't understand how you could put Jimmy G back in and interrupt that chemistry, because I honestly think you might have found your quarterback that would replace Jimmy G in Brock Purdy. You don't need, now you can get rid of Trey Lance and George will be happy.
Well, the thing is shouldn't Debo be coming back too?
Debo should be back. I can look it up. I swore I saw he was supposed to be back this past week.
Well, he was on the sidelines in street clothes or whatever, so maybe they're just giving him the rest.
On Sunday, he caught 2 of 3 targets for 20 yards, rushed once for 4.
So he did play.
He did play.
I did not even notice.
So he's back.
And that's scary think about that. You can stop Debo. Okay, you stop Debo, now you got to worry about McCaffrey.
And Elijah Mitchell's come back, and that's a nice little one too.
And then you can throw in Ayuk, and then obviously the poor man's Travis Kelce, George Kittle.
Poor McCaffrey's foot's going to fall off in the middle of the play.
You hush your mouth.
Hey, fantasy season's over. It's fair game now.
Hey, I got 9th place. I'm all for it.
At least you weren't dead last.
Here's the problem. I had a really good chance of scoring over 2,000 points, which I think would have been like the first time I would have done it all year. And I had a Buffalo player going, and then the game got
Yeah, I felt bad for everybody that had to maintain that. Like, I know Zolt was for his league, was like, all right, how are we going to handle this, guys? Like, how do you want to do it?
We had to figure it out. I thought I came up with a reasonable solution. Obviously, you did too, because you agreed to it.
Right.
It was one of those things where every league kind of got thrown, handle it.
Yeah.
So,
it's on you, Commish. Ball's in your court.
I was because I saw what our app Sleeper said, and I'm just like, oh, so we're just going to ignore that? No, we can't do that. No.
Well, I kind of felt bad because I know, what was it? Shroud said that guy that I was playing Terry or whatever had been in the league for like 10 years and never won. I'm like, I don't want to steal this dude's thunder, and then that happened.
I love Terry. Terry's a great guy, despite the fact that I tried to pay him twice, and each time when he said he was working till 1, he was gone at 12:15. Regardless, great guy. I've known him forever. I think in the 10 years, whatever it's been that he's been in the league, maybe it's 8 years, I think he's made the playoffs once.
Oh my God.
Did he win the championship this year?
Me and him were co-champions.
He split it. They're co-champions because that's how we made it work. So
I think
let me give
fair.
Let me give you the rundown.
Yeah.
Let me give you the rundown. So it's the 2 of them. Obviously, there's 1 game left. There's the Buffalo-Cincinnati game left. Terry's done. This is a standard scoring league with a full PPR. So he had like 153, if I remember it, and change.
Yep.
153 points. Adam still had Burrows, Chase, and Singletary. So
that's who I had with Singletary in Georgia's league.
He had 3 guys to go. The projection had them finishing within 2 points of each other. So I pulled the 2 of them into a chat, and I'm just like, okay, this is how I want to do this. Y'all let me know if you agree. if this is I think was on Tuesday.
Yeah.
I'm like, if they figure out a way to play this game and get it in, we're going to roll with it, and whatever happens, happens. However, if they cancel this game or they play week 18 before this game gets played, get a draw, because once week 18 plays, that changes how Buffalo and Cincinnati are going to use their players. Guys could be sitting, guys, you just don't know. So if they get this in this week, we're good. Otherwise, it's a draw. Y'all can split the pot.
Which actually worked out because whoever would have finished second actually gained an extra $75 out of it. So that worked out great.
Exactly. I like I said, I don't know
I'm so
of any
glad
other
you didn't use
solution.
tragedy to your gain, Adam.
To be fair, at that point, he was gaining no matter what.
Yeah.
No, I get it. I just fucking with him.
But no, it was good. I had a good year in fantasy. I'm not going to complain.
Yeah, it sounds like you had a really, really good year.
I did not accomplish my goal. I did not finish better than Akers.
Oh yeah, he was already saying something about that in the one chat.
That's great.
Well, you know how it is. You guys just butt heads. Anytime you can one up the other, or vice versa, you guys are going to take a chance at it.
Adam, I don't care.
I know you don't. He does.
He cares. I don't. Listen, his opinion on fantasy sports and all of that shit is his personality. I don't have to rely on that. I have plenty of personality elsewise.
Yeah, I know, Jim. I had way too many leagues. I did not realize I was in 10 until I started counting. I'm like, oh crap, I was in 10 leagues.
I was in one, and one was too many.
I'll say this, you were in 10 leagues, Adam. You won mine, so I'll make it easy on you. Thanks for playing. I appreciate it.
Don't come back next year.
Don't come back next year.
I think there was 3 weeks.
You are welcome
in a row.
back.
It was fun. I like Sleeper a lot better than Yahoo. I'll tell you that.
I think it was 3 weeks in a row when I was at rugby on a Sunday at like 11:30. I would get a message from Zolt. Hey, are you going to set your lineup for today? And it wasn't like he's not even the commissioner, but he was actually looking out for me. He's like, you have 4 players that aren't playing today. And I'm like, oh, maybe I should change that.
Oh, by the way, just an update. It's 31-7 now.
Oh, it's done. Georgia's national champs. Here's the thing, though. I tried a couple of times to switch out players and to move people. And for whatever reason, I somehow ended up with Sammy Watkins on my team at some point.
George probably had to do it because he locks them the last game of the season or whatever. He locks your rosters.
No, I'm talking like week 7, week 8.
Oh.
When I lost a bunch of people to injury and I was trying to move players around, and I had consulted with the stats guy about, hey, this is who I'm looking at. And he's like, do this, do this, do this. And I went to go move those players, and the league wouldn't let me. Like the website physically would not let me change them out.
That's a little weird.
Obviously, every system is a little bit different. So, it all depends. If a player has gone, when does it unlock the player?
But I'm talking of taking somebody that was off of the picking some up off the free agent roster who was well within it wasn't game day, it wasn't Monday, because I know it doesn't post until Wednesday if you do it. So it was weird. At that point, I was just like, fuck it. Whatever happens, happens.
Just sucks I gotta wait and get my belt from Georgia's league until August.
Yeah.
That's all right. I forgot about picks this weekend because nobody posted the games in the chat.
I sent it to him.
Yeah, I sent them to him too.
I forgot all about. Listen, I was busy this week at work.
Okay, right on, and I'll straight up tell you, I gave him the picks when I saw a thing telling me the inactives for the Chiefs, and I'm like, oh, it's crap. There's games today.
You're right.
You got to remember, I don't other than this show or watching SVP a couple of nights a week or sitting down and watching hockey after hockey practice with the boy or on the weekend, I don't watch a whole lot of sports anymore because I realized that sports became my personality. And I began to break things like TVs and stuff.
Yeah, it ain't worth that.
No. So, like, I knew that this was the last week of the season, but I was like, oh, yeah. And we didn't do a show last week, so we didn't do picks. And then I saw the Thursday night game, and I was like, did I send him? I thought I sent him a picks. And I opened my chat with him, and I just saw picks there. I'm like, oh, we're good. And then Sunday, I'm watching games. I'm like, those aren't any of the picks. Oh, shit. I said that's last week. Never mind.
All right. So what's the next game on the agenda? What's the Jags game, right?
Saturday, 8:15, Chargers at the Jaguars.
It's got to be about a 5-point spread ish.
1 point.
Are we doing picks for the playoffs?
We're not doing picks yet. We're just kind of running through the games. So if George pops back up, we'll actually maybe pick him. But Chargers are 1 point favorite on the road.
I'll take the Jags.
I thought they were having a home game. I thought the Jags were at home.
Yeah, the Chargers are on the road.
No, he said Jags on the road.
Sorry, Chargers are at the Jags. Okay. We'll just be clear.
There.
He said
Chargers are favored by 1 on the road.
Gotcha. Damn.
The over-under is 47.5. So Chargers, the big news out of this past week was Mike Williams. So literally needed assistance to walk from the locker room to the bus.
He couldn't even get off the cart. That's how bad he was.
Yeah. It was a back injury. They took x-rays. X-rays were negative. They are saying he's this week. He might not practice, but he's playing.
Ooh.
So that just all that tells me is enjoy those quarters.
I'll take the Jaguars. I think.
I mean, does making the playoffs save Staley's job for another year?
I think so. I mean, if that doesn't do it, what would?
Yeah, true.
I mean, you look at that team after Urban left and the rebuild that has happened since he got fired in week 3 last year, week 4?
Soon. It was close. It was soon. We know that it was early.
So you look at from what happened from then until now. You have slowly rebuilt that team. Lawrence is in a bad QB. He
needed somebody to work with him, and Urban couldn't do it. And look how
Urban couldn't do it. But he's getting there, and I think that you add a few more solid pieces, you could have a team that maybe not win you a Super Bowl, but will contend. For sure. And I think as a fan base, that's all you can ask for.
Yeah.
I think we literally saw this year the steps that we wanted to see them take last year, but were held back by their coach.
Yeah. Correct. I mean, you can't go kicking kickers. That's all.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I'm not just saying Lawrence either. I'm saying the team as a whole.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Well, don't forget, too, Travis Etienne was hurt last year, his rookie year, because he had that Achilles or whatever injury.
True. And Christian Kirk, my God, man.
Yeah.
I mean, we were all laughing when they gave him the bank,
and he made it.
I'm not saying he's earned all that money. Maybe he has, maybe he hasn't. But I mean, he put in a good faith effort.
He's no Kenny Galladay, okay?
That's a fact.
Sorry, I had to throw that out there.
So speaking of Christian Kirk, I threw it in the chat. It's like, so that last week of the season was pretty lucrative for a few players.
Right.
Christian Kirk earned himself a cool $1 million bonus that last week. It's $500,000 for receptions and $500,000 for receiving yardage.
As if he needs any more money, you know what I'm saying, after what he got.
You know what? You sign on that contract. You know what your clauses are. You know what
Yeah.
your bonuses are. And going back to the previous Geno Smith wasn't making a whole lot of money. His salary was $3.5 million for a quarterback.
It's low.
That's not money. However, he hit all of his bonuses. So he just doubled it. He now making $7 million for the year. So,
Good for
hey,
him.
good on Geno. I got to remember this thing's here.
Right. I was going to say, you're still a rookie with that, huh?
I was going to say, there, that's what I was trying to do.
I mean, so Saturday's games aren't the greatest, but they could be.
I was going to say Chargers Jaguars, I think is going to be a good game. I don't see either of these two teams making it past the next level.
Yeah, which is what, Kansas City probably?
Yeah. So, I mean, but still, I mean, it game regardless.
Right. And I kind of hate the fact, like, I know it's probably getting into the next games as to how they do this. You play this team on the end of the season, and then you got to play them again the first week of the playoffs. I hate that.
Yeah. Yeah, we got that coming up here. Sunday, 1 o'clock. This is the big spread. You thought San Francisco was the spread? No. This is the big spread. Miami at Buffalo.
Well, because they don't know who's playing quarterback.
I think I know who's playing quarterback.
Teddy Bridgewater?
At least I know who's not playing quarterback.
Yeah, and who's not is Tua.
Tua, he still hasn't cleared protocol. So, I mean, it's only Monday. I get it, but why are you
risking
I don't see them rushing. I understand it's the playoffs, but you know what? You made the playoffs. This should have saved McDaniel's job, at least for one more year.
I can't believe you were going to fire him after a year. I mean, because of it was the collapse, I guess, the 7 in a row losing or something that.
Probably, but you literally lost your franchise quarterback.
Right.
And you may have lost them for a while.
So they were the complete opposite this year than last year. Because remember, last year they lost 7 straight. They went on an 8-game winning streak to end the season. This year was the opposite.
Yeah. Yep. Buffalo favored by 10.5. And it's a low over under 44.5.
Are they expecting weather?
I don't know. I have not looked. I mean, it's Buffalo.
Right.
It's
exactly.
January.
Exactly.
Always expect weather.
Don't get me wrong. The last time that Miami played them, they played them tight in that cold weather. I mean, it was a good game, but they also had Tua.
All right, let's see.
Tua,
right,
and no forward direction on your team.
Let me just throw a couple other names at you. Raheem Mostert broke his thumb.
Yeah, I heard about that.
So that's an issue. Significant break. They're saying he is iffy at best for this weekend. As soon as the webpage loads up, I can continue. Or it just won't do it at all.
Tyreek Hill had an ankle injury too, I think.
Zolt.
Yes.
Iffy at best. Is that a 100% medical terminology? Like, can I go to the doctor and he'll write that down on my chart if I have an injury? Iffy at best.
It's a dueling aces analogy.
I was going to say they generally don't want you to look at the chart, so they probably do.
HIPAA.
Yeah, as we mentioned, Tua not yet cleared for football activity.
He doesn't need. He just needs to be out for the year. Just sit him down.
I completely agree with you. Jalen Waddle is dealing with an ankle. It's considered to be a very minor injury. They would be surprised if he's out. But I mean, let's face it. You are going up against the Buffalo Bills, who, my God, if they didn't have something to play for already.
Right. They definitely do now.
Moving on to the 4:30 game on Sunday.
Ugh.
The Giants at the Frauds. I'm sorry, the Giants at the Vikings.
I forgot.
Now, Vikings are favored by 3 because they're playing a team that might be just as big a fraud as them.
Yes, Jim. I think Tua could take them to the Super Bowl if he's healthy.
He could. I mean, he was pretty lights out until he got hurt.
Vikings got to be favored.
They're favored by 3. But when you think about it, you've got a 13-4 team hosting a 9-7-1, and Vegas gives them 3 points. They basically gave them the home field advantage.
Because they don't, because like you said, they're frauds. They don't know which team's going to show up.
It's bizarre. I mean, literally, the Vikings finished with a negative point differential.
Well, I didn't know that.
Their point differential for the season was -3. That is history making. I don't believe it's ever been lower than like positive 24 and winning a division. It's the over-under is 48.5, so they expect it to be high scoring, which is kind of odd. That's the only reason I think I might give it to the Vikings. If it's high scoring, it's probably going to be high scoring in their direction.
And, I mean, Justin Jefferson's due for a big game too.
He is.
That's gonna.
To be honest, I kind of feel the same way about Saquon. The thing is, I mean, if nobody is going to honor Daniel Jones in the passing game, I mean, what chance does Barkley have?
Yeah. I mean, it's just. I wish they would have played that game at like 1:00 to get that done and over with. That's probably gonna be the worst game. It's probably gonna be the worst game of the weekend.
It's fine. You watch the first game, then you like order dinner or whatever. You go out, get it. You relax a little bit, and then 8:15 comes along, and it's Baltimore at Cincinnati
again.
And
again, no Lamar Jackson, from what it sounds like.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, John Harbaugh, when he literally said, I think it was yesterday, it's like, yeah, the knee still swells up. I'm like, that's the biggest red flag you can have. It's not right if it's still swelling up.
Which means he's done for the year.
More than likely. I mean, it was supposed to be just a simple PCL strain. He should have been back, if not this past week, he should be back this week.
Unless he tore it.
And initial indications were he didn't, so maybe they go back and take another look at it, because they're going to have plenty of time after this week.
Right.
Yeah.
Is there a Monday playoff game?
Yeah,
there is. So Cincinnati is favored by 6.5 over Baltimore. The number's low. The number's 43.5.
Two good defenses.
Baltimore was a wild card, right?
Yes.
They didn't win the division.
No, Cincinnati did.
Yes, and then like you said, we have a Monday night game. Am I stupid in thinking that, wow, I'm not used to seeing Monday offs, or am I just forgetful?
I don't remember there ever being one on a Monday.
Okay.
The tradition has always been that Monday Night Football ended the week before the last week of the season. So, like, if it was week 17, the last Monday Night Football game was week 16, and then all games were played Saturday and Sunday because the national championship
was on Monday. Which, by the way, it's 38-7 at the half.
I just checked the score. My wife is not happy.
Second half team. Oh, wait, nope, that was somebody else.
Yeah, well, yeah, shut up.
Hey, listen, I'd have rather had the game that Michigan had against Georgia, against TCU, than the game Ohio State had against Georgia, because for the second straight big game, they gave up the entire lead in the second half. In the fourth quarter alone, you got outscored 18-3.
That sounds familiar.
Yep.
I don't know. I mean, I want this to be a good game, but I just don't know if it's gonna be. I mean, I'm tired of seeing the Bengals and Ravens and the stuff like. I'm just glad the Steelers didn't make it. I'll say that.
Who's on Monday night?
Cowboys and Buccaneers.
And here's the thing. So it's Dallas at Tampa Bay, because Tampa Bay won the division.
They are playing each other, Jim.
No, that's right, Jim, because the Bengals are the third seed, so they play wild card weekend.
Yep. So Dallas at Tampa, the visiting team favored by 3.
Really?
Yeah, Dallas is favored by 3. 45.5 is the number.
If McCarthy loses this game, does he get fired?
Yes.
100%. This is Jerry Jones.
Well, yes, yeah.
He has already contacted the hitman.
Yeah. Got him on standby.
Yes.
I would really, really like to see the Buccaneers lose and Tom Brady be put out of his misery and just retire and go away. Please, hang on.
And sign with Las Vegas.
Which there's a lot of rumors.
Why?
Josh McDaniels.
Because it's the Raiders.
You're 45, dude. Not even Brett Favre was good in his 40s. Go away.
Brady's a different animal.
Because Mark Davis reaches into his pocket and pulls out a $40 million bill.
Yeah. That he just printed off.
Yes.
Look, is Brady a first ballot Hall of Famer? Yes. Is he one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play the position? Yes. However, Brett Favre, Peyton Manning, and others have proven that if you hang on too long, you begin to destroy your legacy that you have created. And by being on an 8-9 team going into the playoffs, you are hanging on because you are chasing rings that you don't need to chase anymore. Hang it up. You have more money than God. You had a beautiful wife that you...
I literally was going to do the thing. Well, yeah, but he's going to keep playing because he ain't going home to nothing.
Right. Well, I think he's going to keep playing just to piss people off because he knows how much people hate seeing him. So the more you complain about it, the more he's like, all right, I'm just going to come back again next year.
But there's going to come a point when he's going to be out there and he's going to go 12 of 24 for 4 games in a row.
Well, believe me, I know. I had him in fantasy.
But what I'm saying is Father Time is undefeated. I don't care what diet you're on or what weird training regimen you do or how many asshole stretches that you do while doing yoga. The
way it sounds with Bruisers, he's like expecting the Grim Reaper to be sitting on the sideline like, tick-tock, mofo, tick-tock.
Listen, if I were a fan of an opposing team that Tom Brady was playing, I would dress up in a Grim Reaper outfit in the colors of my team, and every time that Tom Brady took the field, I would just point at him.
I mean, which Prescott's going to show up too? The one that throws 3-4 picks a game, or because I mean, how in the world do you get smoked by Washington?
Okay, so this is the thing. Here's my conundrum. I was the Tom Brady owner this past season. I had about as much fun as anybody could with it. I really made the playoffs. So I'm also looking at Dallas, though, and going, I don't know what the hell you are.
Mm-hmm.
Because did you see that game this past week?
It was awful.
It was horrible.
Thankfully,
and that's not the only time this year. That's not the only time this year that they've done that.
Mm-mm.
That's Mike McCarthy football.
It is. That was horrible.
Because think about some of the Packer games they had when McCarthy was there. Losing. I mean, how do you lose to Washington?
How do you lose 6-26 to Washington?
Yeah. Right.
I don't know.
So if he gets fired, what are they're gonna be on the Sean Payton train?
Probably. I mean, everybody else is. Why wouldn't they?
Right. Or are they going to jump to Jim Harbaugh like everybody else too?
I don't think Jerry does that.
No.
I don't know why. I don't think Jerry's not looking for a Michigan man. I think Jim would talk back to him a little bit too much.
Yeah, probably.
Just during the interview.
Yeah.
Jim is the type of guy that would tell Jerry to go F himself.
Yes. He's literally the kind of guy that would probably interrupt him about 3 times during the interview. And
what about
Jerry would just be like, get out.
What about lie to him?
That's a whole nother story. I hear you. I hear you can get away with that in the NFL.
Yeah, not in college.
Hey, listen, all this coaching carousel talk is great, but I really want to know where the hot defensive coordinator free agent Joe Woods is going to land, because clearly he did a bang up job this year.
I mean, we know that Blaylock.
Did Nebraska ever hire anybody? Oh wait,
Yeah.
yeah, they did, didn't they? Damn.
Matt Rule. But my thing is, I just wish Jim would make up his damn mind so we can get these, because we have literally a 5-star stud quarterback ready to commit to Michigan, but he's waiting on what Jim's going to do.
I don't think Jim said he wasn't going anywhere.
I don't trust him.
Okay, hang on. He said hang on. He said,
listen.
Nobody can tell the future. I expect I'm going to be back here next year. He managed to squeeze 2 qualifying statements into one statement.
All right. It would have to be someone who is playoff ready with. There's only 3 teams that I could think of.
Broncos being one.
No, he's not going to Denver.
No,
I don't think he wants any part of that. He's not going to Indy. I don't think he wants any part of that.
They already said they're not going to Carolina.
I could see Indy. I could see Arizona because
I could see that
because he knows the NFC West. I could see Indy. I could see Arizona. And if the Cowboys fire McCarthy, I could see him in Dallas.
We were just talking about this because he'd backtalk Jerry.
I know. I was with the conversation. However, that is a playoff ready team with a good roster that he could.
Well, we know he's not going to Houston.
The first time Jerry Jones tries to feed him a play, that headset is going to end up in the end zone.
Very enthusiastically too.
Yes. Yeah, I don't know that would be a very good mix. I mean, okay, I'm going to say this. If he goes to the NFL, I'm not going to be surprised. No. I mean, I could see him wanting to go back. At the same time, if he sticks around, he's looking for an extension. This is a way to get an extension. Well, and this is a way to maximize it.
You ain't getting an extension until you can win a playoff game.
I think he's getting an extension before that. He's made the playoffs twice in 2 years.
Well, I know, especially now with Corum coming back, you pretty much have your good nucleus of guys, and then there's a lot of people like the Georgias and the Ohio States that are all having to start over at quarterback.
There's that. Here's my issue, since apparently we're in the Michigan talk now. Who are you throwing the ball to?
At Michigan?
Yes.
You still got Roman Wilson.
Okay.
You got
other than that, Bell is gone. Schoonmaker declared for the draft.
You got Loveland.
Yeah, I was gonna say Johnson's gone.
And then you got Barner, the kid that transferred from Indiana, who's a senior. So
you've got Roman Wilson, who's a known commodity. The others are a bit more unknown than I would prefer.
What about Johnson? Did he go pro, or is he?
I believe he was a senior.
Okay, so he had to go. Yeah, because you got a lot of like Clemens and Walker or something or like that, or a bunch of like they said they're high on Clemens, but the kid hasn't played yet.
Exactly.
But you got JJ, so
you got JJ.
Oh, I will give you guys the heads up too. Get used to the last couple of trains you hear here, because we're going to be going to a quiet zone. I don't know how long it's going to take, but we're supposed to be going to a quiet zone now.
Interesting. Meaning.
Well, it's weird. It's so stupid because they put these barricades up the center of the road going up to the, crossing. So that way when the gates come down, you can't go around it. You're blocked in. So when they start doing that means, and there's a sign that's up that says, railroad crossing, rough crossing. And then there's a sign that's underneath it that's covered up. Well, the one down the street at the other one said quiet zone, no train horn or whatever. So they're trying to move it to where the trains won't be using their horns as they come through.
Gotcha. So it's blocked off so nobody can go around. So there's no need to use the horn at night.
Right.
Interesting.
So needless to say, you could probably eventually scrap the train alert filter that you guys put up.
Nah. We'll do that. We'll use it anytime, George is in studio after he's had like a burrito or something. So yeah, the Michigan thing, let's let's hit the NCAA for half a second. The really, really frustrating part of this whole investigation, you had you had an analyst running a practice. I can almost guarantee you that practice started out as a coach running it. The coach had to leave, left the analyst in charge. You can't do that. Should have just ended the practice.
Right.
Either that or somebody who was an analyst didn't realize that they couldn't pull a quarterback and a couple wide receivers together to throw the ball around. You just can't. Again, that's minimal. It's not the huge thing. Obviously, don't do it, but not the worst thing in the world.
Right.
Then you got the other part of it where, so if I read it right, Jim Harbaugh had a recruit on an unofficial visit.
Two recruits.
Two recruits on unofficial visits, and bought them lunch or bought them dinner, which is a violation. Again, it's not the worst thing in the world. I think the two of those things combined, NCAA would have been like, look, don't be stupid, knock it off.
But lying is what set them off.
And then Harbaugh lied / misled the investigators.
Yeah. Yeah. They didn't use the term lie. They used the misled. Like you said, they got to be more politically correct.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm kind of curious what the actual thing he said was.
Well, you got to think about it. Jim's also the same guy that when there's think about it. When Corum got injured, or anybody gets injured, there's never an injury report on any of the players ever. No. He keeps everything in house.
Yep. Even when there's position battles, he's very good about not saying somebody's in the lead or everybody's they're both fighting for it and they're both looking really good. This is going to be a tough decision. It's never, oh yeah, this guy really didn't look very good. You never hear anything like that. Like he went so far as to start Cade McNamara this year instead of JJ McCarthy, who was obviously a better athlete, but at the same time, Cade was a senior and been voted captain by his teammates. So, he wrote it. Now he's gone. But at the same time, he gave him a shot. He's like, okay, you're the senior, go lead.
Right.
And it just didn't work out.
It actually worked out in the end because you could see the camaraderie with the way this team was like a family. And they were getting everybody else to buy in. Like, this isn't about how many stars how many recruiting stars you have or NIL money. This is all about coming in here, working as a team, and achieving your goals. And the ultimate goal, obviously, is to get to the national championship, which Jim's got to do something because you can't go and lose 6 straight bowl games, and be 1-7 in your career in bowl games in Michigan. So
you've beaten Ohio State twice in 2 years. You've won back-to-back Big Ten titles. You've made it to the college football playoff twice and lost twice. And not even it wasn't like the Ohio State loss where they lost by 1 point on a shanked field goal. No, you got beat flat out twice. Now, take the next step. You need to win a college football playoff game, and you need to make the national title game. Whether you win or not is not the point.
At least make it.
You need to make it now. And I think if you're Michigan and you're Michigan alums and you're in a Michigan board and the athletic director, you sit down with Jim and you go, either you're going to the NFL or you're not. And if you're not, these are the expectations this year.
Yeah, because I really don't know if he leaves, who the hell we get for coach unless they would hire from within.
I think it would be in-house.
Sharon?
Possibly. I wouldn't want to really speculate who, but I really think they stick in-house because I think with what they have coming back, you want it. Thanks. Don't you put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby. I think what you have coming back, you would want to keep consistency for at least this next year.
And plus the guy you have, would be coaching was the one that led your offensive line to the 2 Joe Moore awards in a back-to-back years.
If Harbaugh leaves, let's be fair. Was he a good NFL coach? No, but Cliff Kingsbury did a hell of a good job at Oklahoma.
Texas Tech, or wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, offensive
could
guru. Yeah.
Could you get Kingsbury in Michigan?
I wouldn't want him. He don't play defense.
Okay. Here's the thing. And the knock on Kings, yeah, he was a tremendous college coach, but he had the exact same issues in college that he did in the NFL. And that was when the second half of the season came around, no adjustments were made ever. It was the same plays. It was the same script. It was the same everything. He did not change on the fly. Everything that changed happened in the offseason. So if he needed to make corrections, they just didn't happen. And once teams figured him out,
you figured him out. I get it.
Figured him out.
But you're asking for comparable coaches.
Right. No, I got you.
Should he leave? I think that would be a name that they would take a look at. Not that he would get the job, but I would think that would be a name that they would take a look at.
All right, here's a question that we can bring up if you guys want to talk about it. Is the horrible officiating in all those college football games from that weekend?
I don't think the officiating was as bad as everybody says it was.
Okay, the targeting calls?
They weren't targeting.
You're fucking crazy. Excuse my language.
I'm not, though. If you look at the Ohio State, let's go to the Ohio State one, because that was the most egregious one.
Defenseless receiver.
You can call defenseless receiver, but it's not targeting. He did not lead with the head. He led with the shoulder.
But
targeting.
But defenseless receiver still gets a flag.
That's fine. Throw the flag for defenseless receiver, but quit complaining that they didn't call targeting when that wasn't the rule that was broken.
I guess I should have reworded it. It shouldn't have been targeting, but it should have been defenseless receiver.
Yes. Throw the flag on that all day. 15 yards, spot foul, whatever you want to call it.
When you brought up refs, I was sure you were going in a different direction. I thought you were going to tell about the NFL refereeing.
Well, we can. I mean, as a whole for football, period.
But
can we talk about the blatant face mask yesterday that didn't get called?
When I took the picture and the ref standing there watching him yank on Watson's face mask and he didn't do nothing
to the ground.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, and then Browns fans made sure they caught it too at the end of the game. Yeah. Old Mike Tomlin and the referee, fist bumping over there, like, thanks, dog, like, money exchange.
Okay, I will say this: I wasn't going to go there.
Wow.
Where I was going to go was, I think it was now a week ago when it was announced that they're looking into actually making NFL referees full-time year-round. And I have been calling for this for the better part of at least a decade and a half, because this is the biggest league in the U.S. It is the biggest sport in the U.S. This is print your money. How the hell do you employ refs that only work when the season is working?
Well, I like the idea that Klatt had for like the college purposes. Screw your conference, like your SECs, your Big 12, your Pac-12, whatever, Big 10. He said, do away with that and just have a universal, refereeing association, and they get graded throughout the year. And whoever has the highest grades are the ones that do all the major bowl games or games that have of importance. He goes, and this way you knock away of all this conference crap. He goes, and you have one set of like an association of refs. He goes, and that way, and then he goes, and he was so adamant about how can you call this one, and like you can see it's this, and then you replay it, and then it's not. He goes, something's got to be done there.
Right.
It takes time, Jim.
I'm actually going to read this one. Real question: how do you guys have so much knowledge about damn near every team and players, college and NFL? Well, I'm going to let you in on a little secret. I have a photographic memory, and I nicknamed it Google. Literally, I don't. I am consistently impressed with Adam being able to recite draft year and college of damn near every college or every NFL player I can bring up. Me, I literally it's stuff I've heard, stuff I've read, stuff I've
Well,
seen.
you got back in the day. I used to get made fun of because I would watch baseball games and I would keep track, like my own set of scoring kind of thing, and I used to get made fun of for it. Well, then when it came to football, I guess you could say my friends and I, we called it it was like the knowledge of useless players per se, because they could seriously ask me who's the left guard for the Indianapolis Colts. I would tell you where he went to college, what number he wore, and I could give you his name. I could tell you all of that.
I'll tell you this. Something I used to do, and I'm nowhere near as knowledgeable in this facet as I used to be. So I used to play a ton of NCAA football.
Oh, yeah.
And I was the guy who's sitting there when the game came out, going on the internet, pulling rosters and putting in names. Player names in, since all they could do was position and number.
Yep.
And literally, that would be like a solid week of just sitting there typing in names.
I would go ahead and let them computer generate it, and then I would go each team by team and then put in the right name. There's already names there.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I can't wait for that to come back, by the way.
My God, I got really good at spelling words with the controller.
Fast. You're faster doing that than you were typing.
Yes. But yeah, you're absolutely correct. I was kind of disappointed when they said that they weren't the NCAA 23. So we got to wait until at least 24. But you know what? Do it right. Don't be like Madden where you're coming out with a game every year and the only thing that changes is the rosters.
Is the roster and how crappy the receivers catch the ball.
Yeah.
I still love the little guy glitch though.
I just want NCAA so we can play mascot games again.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
My favorite feature on the NCAA games, and it started in the 07 one and it continued through the end, was they had the
Road to Glory or whatever it was.
Well, there was the Road to Glory, but like when you went into the trophy case, they had all of the
achievements.
No. They had the college, so they had like the Egg Bowl trophy. They had Paul Bunyan's X, and you could just go in and play those games. And that to me was so much fun trying to get all those trophies and learning about the history of that, that particular rivalry.
See, who says video games don't help you learn things?
With me, it was I would pick 3 teams. I would pick Michigan. I'd start a franchise. I would do a franchise and I would play as 3 teams. I would play as Michigan. I would pick some like 3-star school, and I would pick a 1-star school. And I would obviously I would do them all differently. 1-star schools, it's like one season I played as Army.
You took Army to the national championship 3 years in a row.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's hard as hell to recruit.
Yes, Army. It is.
Mm-hmm. So, because you can go in and edit your schedule, like on the old one, right?
Yeah.
So I would go in because at the time Army was an independent and not part of a conference. So I would pick teams from the top 25 and I would load my schedule, right? There might be 1 or 2 games that were like Navy was one because you always got to play Navy, and I would play Air Force because you had to play
Commander's Trophy.
Yeah, you had to play for the Commander's Trophy. So it was like you played Army and Navy or Air Force and Navy, but then you had anybody else that I could get, that was ranked when you could edit the schedule. And so the one year I think I beat Alabama, Oklahoma, Notre Dame, and Auburn and made the Fiesta Bowl. And then like 3 5-star recruits wanted to come to Army. And I was like,
I used to hate having to go through and do the recruiting part because you always had to do like, you're going to do this with the recruit, like send them a video or do this, like with this. It was like, oh my, then you run out of points for the week and you're like, crap, I didn't get this 5 stars. I didn't do nothing with him. Now I got to go back and recalibrate everything.
I just remembered it's like, okay, so you're going to, you need to pick something you were going to focus on with that recruit, whether it was your school's prestige,
academics,
time, academics, or location, I think.
Yeah.
And it's like, and you'd be going along and you'd be really into a recruit, and then it would pop up, oh yeah, their top thing is school prestige. And I'm looking at my 1-star school and I'm going like, well, I just wasted like a month.
Yeah. Whoops. Sorry, kids.
I got to the point where I just started automating recruiting.
Oh, see, I had a formula. It's like as a 1-star, all you're trying to do, you try to get that 3-star defensive end and a 3-star running back. If you can convince those 2 guys, you're golden, because I guarantee you you're winning at least like 8 or 9 games the next couple years, and that's when you start to get the 3 and the 4 stars, and you're good.
Yeah, and another thing on my defense too is I follow a lot of recruiting, as in like I've been following, like I followed Jabril Peppers through all his high school and to his signing day where he committed to Michigan, like Rashawn Gary, like so that's how I know a lot about it too. Is I follow a lot of recruiting during the off season.
So getting away from video games, which I will do for another 11 minutes, and then I'll be going back to video games. But that'll be off air.
Right.
I'm in the middle of the NHL Stanley Cup playoffs with the Pens right now. So
nice. I have maxed my level in Call of Duty for season 1, so I'm level 250.
I haven't played that in so long.
Listen, good on you guys for playing the shit out of that game. I just cannot get into it unless it's the story mode.
Oh, dude, the campaign in this one is phenomenal.
Is it?
Yes. I would say this, though. You need to play the campaign for the 2019 Call of Duty Modern Warfare, because this just takes off from it. So it just works better because you see characters come back and that kind of thing. Anyway, that being said, we got 10 minutes left. I really, really want to touch on the Lions Packers and how much fun I had last night, because, I'm a fantasy football player. That's generally my focus during the season. Obviously that ended, and it's kind of like, oh yeah, it's the last red zone of the year. Yeah, let's watch. Blah, blah, yeah.
You got to be a fan last night.
I got to be a fan, and at the same time, I don't usually get to be a fan of the home team, because week 18 usually is meaningless for us. And I'm not saying there was a lot of meeting to last night, because we already knew Seattle had won, so we were eliminated from the playoffs. But
right.
By God, we could put the screws to Aaron Rodgers and the Packers and make them go home. When I don't say go home, they were already home. We could make them go to the locker room, just realizing that you just got swept by the Detroit Lions for the first time in Aaron Rodgers' career.
And it might have been the last time you ever see him on the field.
I don't think so.
Just in a Green Bay uniform?
I don't think that either, because let me pull up some numbers for you.
While you're pulling up numbers, and I was stoking the fire, you guys were talking about referees, and Adam brought up, college going to the generalized non-conference, just referee across the board.
Association.
Yeah, and you had brought up that the NFL was going to finally hire the referees full time. They should have done that when the refs went on strike 3 years ago. I mean, Ed Hockley was a lawyer and then a referee on the weekend. I'm sorry, but the officiating has gotten worse since that strike, and you need to do something to fix that, because it's going to result in somebody getting hurt. I mean, that face mask yesterday, look at the way he got his head whipped around.
Yeah.
Okay. I wanted to pull up. No,
I
you're
just
fine.
didn't get a chance to say that.
Nope, that's you're all good. Like I said, I was pulling up numbers anyway. So let's talk about money, and let's talk about how much money Aaron Rodgers is making, because we literally talked about it this past year, where Aaron Rodgers decided he wanted a new deal, and because of that, his offense that was around him was next to nothing. He makes more money this year than he did last year, this coming year, than this previous. His cap hit for the year coming up, if he plays with the team, is 31.6.
Whew.
Let me if they trade him or he retires, it goes up to 40. Now, of course, the team can't tell him not to retire. I don't think he's going to retire. I think he's going to be a Brady and just be like, no, I'm not done yet. I'm super stud. I can do whatever.
Just hanging around.
Just hanging around. If they release him, that is a dead cap hit of $99.7 million.
Oh my.
Jesus.
Okay, so he's not being released, and odds are he's not being traded.
Hey, go get your helmet real quick.
He could retire, in theory. However, if he retires, he's walking away from $59.5 million guaranteed. All he's got to do is play this year, and he's guaranteed $59.5 million.
What? Guaranteed?
That's in guaranteed money that comes into effect if he's still on the roster for 2023. He ain't going anywhere.
No. I just thought it was funny, though, how when Jameson Williams asked him for his jersey, he's like, nah, I got to hold on to this one.
Dude.
There it is. That is
Look at
the
that.
hard hat
That's a nice hard hat.
for hardest working player yesterday.
Nice. So what, they get to keep it? They get to keep it to the next game.
He had his best game of the season. He keeps it to the next game, but we have we're driving to Detroit this weekend because he's playing in a tournament up there. So
Sorry to hear that.
I was trying to. I was going to try to meet up with Zolt this weekend.
You literally have picked the weekend that this is we're finally doing Christmas with Mary's family because due to people working and illnesses, we're finally able to get down to Toledo.
Good night, Bob. Love you.
How far is Livonia from you, Zolt?
It's okay, so that's west side of Detroit. If I was just driving to it, it's probably like 45 minutes, but that's because I got to drive cross town.
If I come up that way for my birthday weekend, I want to go to the pro sport zone that's in the mall there that I want to go spend like a good paycheck at. You know, like maybe yeah. It's at the end of the month, so it'll be one of those things like if I'm in the area, like, hey, I'll meet you halfway, like kind of thing, or something. Right. If you want to meet up for some dinner or something.
Right on.
Well, we're coming up Friday, and I'm leaving Friday afternoon.
All right.
So if I get around there around dinner time, I might message you and see if you want to.
Hey, see what we're doing. I mean, that's fine.
Ohio State fans crack me up. Last week was the national championship game. Oh, shut up.
Wow.
When you lost that too.
Right.
There's delusion, man. There's a lot of delusion.
I still love that meme. Go ahead. I just want to say this real quick. I just love that meme that came out and it says, Ohio State going for the field goal, and it's the Madden where the cursor for the field goes all the way over to the left.
Going all the way over. Yes, that was hilarious.
Somebody put up a picture of Norwood's kick from the 92, and then Ohio. They're the exact same kick, only on opposite sides of the goalpost.
Jesus. I mean, I give you guys credit, though. I think Detroit's on the right track. It just sucks that the season had to end, considering you guys are getting so hot.
Look, I mean, what the hell was our record last year? We had, 3 wins? 4?
I think so, something like that.
4.
I mean, this is it's a step. It's not, you're not going to jump from that. It's the NFC Championship game.
You had 4 wins last year. You have 8 this year?
9. We finished 9-8.
So you have doubled your win total.
Yeah.
You have reduced your loss total by half.
Yep.
You have made positive direction in not only your offensive production, but your quarterback production, and that seems to be solidified for the first time in a long. Even when Matthew Stafford was there, you had fluctuation at that position because he was hit or miss some weeks. You have,
and you
have a coaching staff that is solidified. Like, I don't think a coaching staff is going anywhere.
I mean, they're getting interviews, which that in and of itself is
Right.
It's not something we're used to. But our OC Ben Johnson, who I think is like 34, there's been, I think, 3 inquiries so far.
No, I was looking at
teams interviewing him.
Carolina just asked to talk to him now. There's like 3 or 4 more that have come out and said they want to talk to him.
I mean, was it the Texans? The Texans want to interview Aaron Glenn, our defensive coordinator, which, I mean, our defense was okay. It wasn't anything earth-shattering. Yeah.
I think the biggest one's going to be the biggest guys that might get a shot at it would be like the D'Amico Ryans and the Jared Mayos. Those will be the 2 big ones and they fall under the Rooney rule, so they, you know what I'm saying. So that won't be an issue there.
I think Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn, they're now in the process, so it's going to be one of those things where perhaps their name pops up next year as well. And that's when you really need to start looking out for, okay, we're going to lose them at some point here.
Well, it's kind of funny. You don't hear the enemy's name this year.
No, not yet.
Yeah, true.
They're still in it.
Yeah,
I don't think you hire either of those coordinators until they've won a playoff game. That's just me.
Well, I mean, again, though, we're talking about the Texans. They do weird things.
Well,
Dan Campbell, I might be advising against it.
Yeah.
I will say this hilarious quote I saw from Penei Sewell, our right tackle, because he was asked about, teams are asking to interview Ben Johnson. And he's like, oh, that's a horrible idea. I mean, he didn't do anything. It was all the players. No, you don't want him.
I think you get enough players coming out and saying that might.
But I mean, again, we're not used to being in that position. We're not in that position where our coaches are, we're the ones that are trying to grab somebody else's offensive coordinator because, hey, maybe you'll work. But no, again, I love the direction we're going. I've said it before, I'm super excited about this off season. We're looking at having approximately 28 million in cap space. Not a lot, but I mean, it puts us in the top half of the league.
You got most of your guys coming back too, don't you?
We should have most of our guys coming back. Our issues, the way I'm looking at it right now, is we need to re-sign Jamal Williams.
Yeah.
Because I don't think anybody on the team was expecting him to hit 1,000 yards rushing.
I thought he was like 6 yards shy.
I thought he hit it, but at the same time, he also set a team record for touchdowns in a season. 17. Yeah, and he beat Barry.
Right. that alone should get you an extension.
Right.
Yeah, but the thing is, say you guys don't re-sign Williams, go out and get Hunt.
If you're the Lions, do you throw, now that you know that Jadeveon Clowney's not coming back to Cleveland?
Well, we don't know that.
I don't. Clowney?
Yeah.
I mean, Clowney got sent home. I don't think he's coming back to you guys.
Well, he made the comment as he was leaving about, I don't know if he'll be back next year. I mean, or if I'll be back. Talking about Joe Woods, saying that he might not be back, but I might, kind of thing. But with the way everything ended, I think I'm pretty sure that's pretty soured at this point.
Yeah.
But if you're Detroit, do you throw 5 years, 45 at him?
That's too long for him.
I don't think so. I don't think they're looking at a massive, let's throw this all at one player. I think again, they live for the draft. And if they're going after free agents, number one, they're signing their own. And number two, they're going after those guys that are just like, okay, you were in the wrong position, or you had a horrible coach, or you were under Joe Woods, or, guys that you can make better. Jamal Williams finished the year with 1,066 yards, 17 touchdowns. He had a 4.1 per carry. He's also a locker room guy. Huge locker room guy.
I'm very into anime.
He's very into Naruto. That's for damn sure. I will say this because there were comments not just about his. I mean, Rodriguez, Malcolm Rodriguez, on his little intro blurb. He said he was from Barry Sanders University. Aiden Hutchinson did one that I can't remember off the top of my head.
Oh, I know exactly word for word.
Okay, go for
it. He literally said Aiden Hutchinson, the University of Michigan. And as soon as I'm like, oh, dude, I'm like, here we go. We're going to start that now.
And here's the thing, though. You really don't see that too much in those. You'll have a guy here or there that throws something in there, like the guy that'll throw his high school in there or whatever. And there's a reason for that. Because I guess Mike Tirico was on the radio here today, because I believe he's actually from Livonia.
Yeah.
He said it, and he brought it up. He's like, Detroit did not have a primetime game this year. They hadn't recorded all those. Most of those get recorded like before week 1. So like for the entire season, they'll for all of Monday Night Football, they'll record those. So they literally had to record them the day before. And all the guys were in the same room, and they just started doing the thing where it's like, oh, well, I got to do better than him, or I got to come up with something better than him. And it just kind of, they loved it and they rolled with it.
That's when you know it's a good season, when your guys are having fun.
Yeah.
I think Detroit at least gets one Monday Night Football game next year.
I would hope.
At least one.
I really, yeah.
Hey, Cleveland got 2. Detroit should get at least 1.
And we're running over, so I'm just gonna end this like this. I brought up Aaron Rodgers, and I brought up his money for a reason. He's coming back. He's not going to walk away from $58 million guaranteed. Why would you do that?
Right.
Does Jordan Love demand a trade? Perhaps. I mean, if I'm him, I'm thinking about it.
Yeah, but you haven't proven anything yet, though.
You haven't, but at the same time, you can't get into a damn game because Rodgers won't let you.
History is repeating itself. Aaron Rodgers Brett Favre did the same thing to Aaron Rodgers, and now Aaron Rodgers is doing the same thing to Jordan Love.
Good night, Jim.
And night, Jim. I'm going to pull up the cap tracker for Green Bay specifically, because so they're looking at a cap space for their top 51 of negative 9.5 million.
Okay, I think that when we did it last time with that whole that page we had, remember that we kept sharing, it was like I knew they were in the negative.
They're in the negative. Rodgers is making more money next year than he was this year. He's not getting better. Has moments where he's okay, and he has moments where he's not. So Green Bay can go back to enjoying their mediocre offense led by their used to be good quarterback. And meanwhile, the NFC North right now runs through Minnesota.
Captain Kurt.
For one more year.
So this begs a question, though. Mediocre offense. Lackluster offensive play. Was Mike McCarthy really the problem, or has it been Aaron Rodgers all along?
The two are not mutually exclusive. I don't think they got along very well. Maybe they did, but I think Aaron Rodgers was a hell of a quarterback.
2-time MVP or 3, right?
Yeah. I don't know. It's a hard question to answer. But he sure as hell isn't that now.
No.
And I'm thoroughly enjoying it. And maybe I'm bringing some nasty karma coming our way. But for Christ's sake, I've had that for 40 years now.
Right. What's one more year?
What's one more? Enjoyed this year. I have a feeling I'm really going to enjoy next year.
I'm curious who they're going to put on Hard Knocks this year.
It's a good question. I'm actually, honestly, I said this past year wasn't the year to put us on Hard Knocks. Right. I mean, not to overstate it, They made us the darlings of the NFL.
Or especially Malcolm
They
Rodriguez.
really did. Yeah. This coming year, I think would have been storyline all the way around.
Right.
Because you have shown something, and now you need to build on that.
Well, I guess it all depends on what coach gets hired where that maybe hasn't done it yet. That might be the one to do it.
But all that being said, we've been off for a couple weeks, so thanks guys for joining us. Thanks for everybody that watched. All 2 of you. At one point, it may have been 3. We love each and every one of you. You know, maybe we don't know you, but that's okay.
I enjoy this on my Monday. Do you know how much I look forward to Monday evenings and just sitting and having conversations with my friends for a little bit?
You know what? I enjoy doing it. I enjoy it so much. I overlook the fact that George treats us as the second best show that he runs. And it is what it is. I mean, you know, who's here and who isn't? I'm here because I love hanging with you guys. So
listen, I was being honest. You're just patronizing.
But it's and for that matter, I'm gonna do something that I don't think anybody else has done yet. I'm gonna put it on air. Way to go, Clint, winning the Dueling Aces Fantasy League. Respect.
Indeed.
I mean, that's absolutely. You know, the man deserves.
He almost won 2.
He almost won the Ohio League.
Yeah,
How close was it? How close?
Well, here's the thing. So the way George did it is he had us pick a whole new roster, quarterback, 2 running, right? Yeah. Anybody we wanted, everything.
That's what he did for MI Aces. Yep.
So how in the hell we picked everybody except for 3 people was the same. We both took Mahomes, Henry, and Eckler.
Yep. Okay.
The only difference we had in receiver was we had Jefferson, Adams. He took Diggs. I took Lamb. We both took Kelsey, but this is where he screwed up. I took Tucker as the kicker.
Yeah.
He took Brett Maher from the Cowboys, who got him -10.
Ouch.
And then I took the 49ers defense, and he took the Eagles.
Okay.
So the difference was it was like the way George added it up or something in the one chat, it was like almost 600 to like 400 or something like that.
Hey, you know what a week it would have been to take the Bills defense.
Yeah, I know.
Man.
But I did mine way too quick because I don't know why I didn't think of taking Josh Allen. Like I didn't want to forget about it, so I wanted to get my picks in. And
Mahomes is a sure thing though. Usually.
George said he doesn't play well in Vegas or against the Raiders.
Yeah, but I mean, still, you were going to take Kelsey anyway, probably, right?
Yeah. Well, so why wouldn't I was mad I didn't take Kittle because Kittle got 2 touches.
Nah.
But if I had taken Kittle, Kelsey would have went off.
Did you win?
Yes, that's all that matters.
To hell with it. Who cares?
Yep. So it was, I think what he say? Shrods won the Michigan League. I won the Ohio League, and Clint won the DA League.
Nice, good job, guys. And you split my league with Terry.
I got 5 championships this year. I'll take it.
Didn't you play Clint in both the Dueling Aces and the Ohio Aces championship?
No, I lost to freaking Suds by like 9 points. And it was Suds and Clint in the DA League.
Okay.
It was Suds and Schroeds in the MI Aces. Who the hell's doing Suds' team? Because I don't think it's him.
Well, the thing is we need to get him back on the show because when he's on the show, he doesn't do shit in fantasy.
He doesn't do shit. Yeah, all right. All that being said, I'm gonna sign us off, guys. So peace out. We'll catch y'all next week.